use, so there is at least a human in the loop, even if that human is on the sofa or in the bath. So how about you, Alfred? Do you ever operate your computer from the bath?
From certain places, yes. No comment.
Are these places near the bath?
No comment.
The AI fix a digital zoo. Smart machines, what will they do? Flies to Mars or bake a bad cake? World domination, a silly mistake.
Hello and welcome to episode 94 of the AI Fix, your weekly dive headfirst into the bizarre and sometimes mind-boggling world of artificial intelligence. My name's Mark Stockley and I'm joined today by Alfred Nutile. Now, Alfred, for listeners who don't know you yet, where can we find you when you're not on the AI Fix?
Hey, Mark. You can find me at Daily AI Studio. We'll have all the links to my YouTube and LinkedIn stuff. That is the best way to find me.
And what is it that you do there?
That's a good question. Things keep changing so much.
What is it you originally thought you were going to do there, and where did that end up?
Basically, it's I was shifting with the AI, right? Like going from a long-time developer to no-code AI guy.
Yeah.
And just continuing to try to figure out how to help people and businesses use AI in their day-to-day work, basically.
And so what sort of help do you offer people on your channel?
It's basically just showing them that this isn't that hard, and if you find the right products...
Don't show them that, Alfred. No, it's unbelievably hard. Don't listen to him.
Yeah. I mean, there are some amazing tools that are making it easier just to use it.
Yeah.
And, kind of keep it simple and not get, you don't have to go all the way to OpenClaw to use AI, basically.
Anyway, I'm delighted to have you on the podcast today, and you're going to be bringing some of this expertise onto the podcast during your story, aren't you? So you're going to be doing 3 steps to mastering AI, or 3 steps to feeling a bit less terrified by AI.
There you go. Less terrified. Yeah. Yes.
After that, I'll be talking about what really worries people about AI. But before that, we're going to do some news.
Anthropic's Claude can drive your computer.
Yann LeCun's AMI Labs raises $1 billion to build world models.
Atlassian cuts 1,600 jobs to fund AI pivot.
Man pleads guilty to $8 million AI music streaming fraud. So, Alfred, I have a confession to make. I'm actually recording this podcast from my bath. I am controlling Claude from my phone, and Claude is sitting at my desk, moving my mouse, clicking on things, and basically doing this podcast for me.
Yep.
Okay, obviously that's not actually true, but it might be next week. Because as of this week, Anthropic's Claude can do the things that you said in the intro. Anthropic's Claude can now take remote control of your Mac, not your Windows machine, because Claude apparently has very good taste. You give it a task from your phone, and it opens apps, and it clicks buttons, and it fills in spreadsheets, and it navigates your browser, and it basically does whatever you do, except it's not getting distracted by YouTube. And you can pair this with a feature called Dispatch, which Anthropic released last week, and that lets you assign Claude tasks from your iPhone. So you can sit in the bath, driving your computer. You do still have to approve which apps Claude can use, so there is at least a human in the loop, even if that human is on the sofa or in the bath. So how about you, Alfred? Do you ever operate your computer from the bath?
From certain places, yes. No comment.
Are these places near the bath?
No comment.
We'll just leave that there.
Yeah.
The thing that would stop me doing this is I am not going to take my iPhone anywhere near the bath. When I can control it by voice, maybe I will do it from the bath.
Yeah. Or you wear the Meta glasses and you're just talking to your AI the whole time. What do you think of this news? What do you think of this feature?
I feel like we've reported on this 2 or 3 times before. So the direction of travel here has been very, very clear. So Anthropic has been, they're the company that came out with MCP, which is this protocol whereby you can say, right, I've got a server over here, like a WordPress server or Google Docs or something like that. And I want my AI to talk to it.
Yeah.
And it's also the company that invented computer use, which is the fallback option where it actually just kind of knows where your mouse is and how to click on things and things like that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a year or 2 ago, they showed the whole computer use thing. And it was slow and clunky, but man, stuff just keeps changing. They're really, this is OpenClaw moment, right? This is them saying, hey, we see the value here. You're up in our game. And they've they've pulled something off here that's really nice, to be honest with you.
Have you used this?
Of
course. Have you got close to it?
Of course. Yeah. I spend, tons of money just to use this stuff because it is expensive. One of these is their pro level, so it's like $200 a month, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the thing about MCPs is you don't even have to think at that level of like weirdness. It's just a connection. You click a button and you can connect it to your Gmail and your calendar. I was using Granola or Gamma or whatever, and even to Superbase.
Sorry, I don't even know what those things are. I thought Granola was a breakfast cereal.
I know. And then they have this feature called recipes. I'm like, you guys are just making this too hard to Google. So yeah, Granola is a really good AI app, a note-taking app that does AI really well. And they record meetings and stuff. So just past sponsor, but I'm not sponsoring them here, so don't worry. Or I'm not selling them here. But they're good. And like Gamma's that one that makes presentations, right? So
oh yes, I have tried to use that. I was
yeah.
What
do you think?
Well, I started using it and then I stopped fairly rapidly after I'd started it. I felt like there was a bit of a learning curve. I know people who swear by it. So Nick Roberts, who came on the show a few weeks ago, I think he actually mentioned it as one of his kind of must-use tools.
Yeah.
Which is why I ended up in it. But it didn't work for me.
Well, this gets crazier because the MCP protocol is also the MCP app protocol, which is a UI protocol that then takes this. So you never leave Claude. You say, hey, take the meetings from that Granola meeting, so it connects to it, takes all that information, and then you say, push that into Gamma to make a presentation. I haven't left Claude, and now I have these two data points connected, and I have a presentation in one chat. So when you think about these dispatches and just using your phone and doing all this work, I think the question becomes which ones of us are smart enough not to tell anybody. We get tons of work done while we are fishing on the boat or watching a show or playing a game,
Well, maybe it's just the next version of remote work, isn't it?
Yes.
And then what's going to happen? Like, if we just keep abstracting like this, eventually Claude itself is going to be the thing that's on the boat, fishing, while some other agent works on its behalf. I don't know what we're going to be doing at that point. Probably building boats for Claude or something. So, Alfred, you might remember Yann LeCun. He's the Turing Award winner who spent years at Meta telling everyone that large language models are a dead end. Well, as we explained a few episodes ago, he left Meta after being asked to report to a 29-year-old, and he started a company called AMI Labs. And he's just raised $1 billion, which is reportedly the largest ever seed round for a European startup. So finally, Europe seems to be doing something in the AI space. And his idea is to build world models. And these are different from pretty much all the AIs that we've been talking about for the last few years. These are AIs that learn by understanding how the physical world actually works. So they sort of look at videos, but rather than looking at the pixels and trying to get good at making videos by doing pixel prediction, they're actually trying to figure out what laws of physics are at work. It's the difference between a parrot that can recite a physics textbook and a child who's learned that things fall and break when you drop them. But perhaps the best quote came from AMI Labs CEO Alexandre Lebrun, who said, "My prediction is that world models will be the next buzzword. In 6 months, every company will call itself a world model to raise funding," which is refreshingly honest for a man who has just raised $1 billion using the words world model. Alfred.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting stuff. I never could figure out Yann LeCun. He seemed to be maybe in his own world with his own models because he didn't really seem to understand like the customers of Facebook or the reality around him.
I don't think he's got any interest in the reality or customers of Facebook.
But, it's interesting stuff. I was watching a documentary a couple of weeks ago about the DeepMind guy. I forget his name now.
Yeah.
And he shows you how they evolved to just putting AI into 3D models, and you would see the AI trying to stand up and walk and learn without being trained. And so you can kind of understand this stuff as much as we can understand these things. And then you have Genie by Google, which is again rendering 3D stuff that you can then move around in with the WASD key or whatever it is, right? Like a game. So I mean, it makes sense. Again, once we scare everybody with the rest of this news, you start to see the evolution of robotics and every other, safe area going away, because this will just make robots easier to train, basically. So,
do you think LLMs are a dead end?
I think that's just marketing hype or marketing stuff. I think LLMs aren't a dead end. I mean, look at how much our lives have changed day to day, you and I in our work, thanks to LLMs. So no, it's, they'll be around for quite a while.
I mean, I'm not going to bet against Yann LeCun because he's the guy who's been right when everybody else has been wrong more than once. And I kind of imagine that he knows enough that he's going to do that again. But I also feel like he lives in the future. And he was kind of a poor fit for Meta, because Meta was all about let's spend billions of dollars and remain competitive now by building LLMs.
How do we get people to play more Candy Crush or whatever it was? And he's like, Yeah. He, it's really good points. And someone with his intellect and potentially his ability to see trends down the line leaves us all like looking at him in different ways and wondering.
So a familiar story, but a different company name. Atlassian, this time, the company behind software like Jira and Confluence, has cut 1,600 jobs. That's about 10% of its workforce to, I quote, self-fund a pivot to AI. So CEO Mike Cannon-Brooks said AI doesn't replace employees, but it changes the mix of skills we need. The cuts are expected to save the company somewhere around $236 million. And that's going to be redirected into AI and enterprise sales. Anyway, so more job cuts because of AI. What do you make of all of this?
It's such BS. Like, what do they call it? AI washing? It's such a bizarre world, but you have these people who are the voices of these companies who 5 months ago, he was saying what would make investors happy. 5 months now, today he's saying that's all he is. He's a mouthpiece for investors. And Jira, that's a swear word in most places. Okay. That is the worst software ever invented.
Project management software for developers, isn't it?
It's not for anybody. Okay. But listen, they own Trello, Bitbucket. They have they have a lot. And, I think what's going to happen with a lot of these situations is that they're going to need potentially less people to drive the current load of work, but then they're going to need more people to drive the increasing level of work and demand that's going to be happening. Right?
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a shift here where they're firing, but then hiring. But this is the mistake. He has people he could have kept, retrained, and focused on the AI orchestration that needs to happen at every business, right?
Yeah.
And so that's part of the mistake here too, is like, how do you retrain those people versus fire them? But in the end, I think there was just a mistake here years ago where they just hired too many people, honestly.
So this is the thing I think Sam Altman was talking about, where he said lots of people got hired during COVID that probably shouldn't have.
Good point. Yeah.
And then basically lots of companies are now going through the rounds of layoffs that they probably had to do as a result of the overhiring during COVID, but they're blaming AI. Yep. But what stood out to me here is the amount of money. So this is about creating a fund of, in the region of $236 million.
Jeez.
Which can then be redirected into AI.
Yeah.
So it may not even be that this is a case of they're expecting AI to take these people's jobs immediately, but they recognize that they have to make a significant investment in AI.
He has to spend no more money to have the same or less staff on payroll to produce that work. So therefore, where does that money go, right? Is it to an OpenAI bill? Maybe. Right? I don't know. He should have talked to Yann LeCun and said, listen, you just got $1 billion. Okay, here we are. Help us out. Like my point is, like, where does that money go when the staff is lowered, but that existing staff is the one he's paying the same rates to build something what he's talking about, right? So where does that money go?
I mean, $236 million can buy a lot of tokens.
Yeah.
And surely they're not going to be, those remaining employees are going to use AI to do the jobs of the people who've been fired.
Yeah.
And the difference is not going to be $236 million in tokens.
No.
But I wonder if maybe they are looking at creating some sort of AI product. They can't afford to stand still. I mean, so Jira is kind of the standard agile project management software for developers, and Confluence is the bolt-on documentation system.
Don't even give it that much of a compliment. It's something, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything with documents. It's like
you're not a fan, is what I'm hearing.
But he keep going. So what are they going to do? Like you're saying.
So I mean, if we live in a world where software development is largely done by AI, which we are getting there very, very rapidly. What use Jira?
Yeah.
Like, who's actually going to be looking at those Jira tickets?
Just for the record, I would love to see a skit where the AI is talking to each other. Like, I can't find the docs. Can you go find them?
So finally, Alfred, we have what I think might be the most beautifully stupid crime of the AI era so far. So a 54-year-old man from North Carolina called Michael Smith has pleaded guilty to wire fraud conspiracy after using AI to generate hundreds of thousands of songs, which he uploaded to Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music, and then he used AI to listen to them. Now, there are a few things to admire here. The dedication, for one, and the scale. Hundreds of thousands of songs. And of course, the money. $8 million, or $8,091,843.64 if you want to be precise about it, which of course the US Justice Department very much does. And the only flaw in the plan was that he was, committing a crime.
No, the only thing he did wrong was he didn't stop at 1 million. This is the biggest mistake these people make, okay? Set a goal, stop, get out of there, okay? Just for the record, I'm 52 and I live in Massachusetts, not North Carolina. So I'm not this guy, but I really wish I was.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. It's just, I mean, come on. Who has ever said the streaming industry is fair? Who has ever said any of this? He should be training streaming music people on Spotify to teach them how to make money, because they seem to not be able to make any money. So I don't know how. It is just amazing.
That's the curious thing here, isn't it? Like, everybody moans about the fact that you get like $0.0000001 for every stream on Spotify. And somehow he's made that add up to $8 million. It reminds me of... Have you seen the film Office Space?
Oh, yeah. Yes, my wife loves that.
He's basically found a rounding error, and he's written a computer program that's just scratched this itch and racked up $8 million.
Okay, listen. Before he goes to court, we're going to start a rights thing where agents have rights, and then therefore these agents had the right to listen to this music, and therefore they are technically, customers, right?
That's a really good point. That organization does exist. I'm racking my brains to think of the name of it now, but we did a news story on them months ago.
Yeah.
There is a group of people who are campaigning to give AI agents rights. And in fact, the CTO of that organization is itself an AI agent.
Yeah, they should show up to his court thing with signs and pickets and, well, wait, can they? They can't. But you know what I mean. They should.
Yeah. Well, maybe they could hire some humans on that website to turn up.
That would be awesome.
With the placards. There you go. People do have a use after all. So you're going to talk today about Claude Desktop, and that's made by Anthropic, and Anthropic often sponsors this show. So I just want to make it absolutely clear that in no way influenced the choice of what we talk about today. So you came to me with the suggestion of what to talk about because you think that this is currently the best tool. And if we'd had this conversation 6 months ago, you might have suggested something else. And if you come back on the show in 6 months' time, then you might suggest something else again. But right now, this is not the position of the AI Fix. This is your belief that this is the right tool for people to be using.
It's a really good point. I mean, I was using Gemini 6 months ago, or 4 or 3.
Yeah.
And so, I just wanted to talk about just getting started with AI. A lot of people I talk to in the industry and in work, like I don't want to say I do consulting, I do, but sometimes I'm just on a job and working with the people who have to get the job done on the other end. I'm like, hey, you could use AI for that.
Yeah.
Or I'm at pickleball talking about AI because I'm that guy who everybody is like, oh, he's here. But then they're happy when
half the people are running away from you and half the people are running towards you. Yeah.
Yep. But my point is, like, when these people do have a moment of like, aha, it's not because they did something with OpenClaw or something difficult. In this case, they just had, for example, Claude Desktop, and they download that and start using it. So I just wanted to talk about 3 ways to use it today and not like feel overwhelmed. And they'll take you further than ChatGPT in just chat. But if you have ChatGPT, you could do a lot of this with that as well. So the concepts will carry over.
So where do we get started? So if you're intimidated by AI and you feel like you should be using it, but you don't know where to start, what is step number one?
So when you download Claude Desktop, just start it up, log into your account, and you're pretty much at what you're used to where it will say chat, and that's fine. But take a moment to click on a project and start a project before you just start a chat. And the reason is you start to get one of the biggest benefits from all this stuff is you get context. So every time you start or you chat with your AI, it's not like it has amnesia. You can go back to it a week or two later and say, remember that quote or that proposal I was working on with you? I have a few more questions, or here's some more feedback. So the AI has the documents, has all your chat history in that project. So you can continue just chatting with it about it and making progress there.
So give us an example of what a project might be.
Yeah, I mean, it could be so many things. For me, here's a good example. I have one client I'm doing a website for, I'm doing web work for. So I made a project for them. And every time there's a technical change or update or who he is, his domain, what he's working on, I put those files in there so that when I'm chatting about that project with AI, it's like, okay, you're working on this. Last time you were working on it, you were building this. Okay, I think this is due this week. Like everything's there for it to know what I'm working on, the goal of that particular project, and potentially help me with how to do the next thing, which can be an email I have to send or a task I have to do.
So the benefit here is on the one hand, all the separate chats you have in that project, they all have access to the same bit of context. They all have access to the same shared documents.
Yep.
But your other chats in other projects also aren't polluted by that stuff.
Yeah.
So that all of the memory and everything like that is contained within the project.
Yep. Yeah. So by building these projects, you can do what you said. You give it the context it needs without overwhelming it, and each one of those is separated as needed.
Okay. So step one is go and get Claude Desktop and then go familiarize yourself with projects as a way of separating your work and giving the AI better context. What's step two?
All right. So step two is, again, don't feel overwhelmed. Just start that. And if it's enough, great.
Yeah.
But they have a new tab up there called Co-work. And if you click on that, which a project can become part of a co-work, that's when you can start basically letting the desktop app take over your computer, can really access files in a way like never before, can even access your browser app, even iMessage. It can do a lot with your computer. So once you get into there, you could say, hey, and this is a great example. And again, I love this because since day one with technology, I just love it when you delight someone on the other end and say, look, you're trying to do X, we've just done that. Like, how fascinating was jQuery when that came out, and it would make things dance on the screen or move in a way we never imagined before.
So jQuery is the JavaScript library that came out.
1991. I don't know when.
It's a JavaScript library that came out, I think, in the mid-2000s, and it changed the way we do web development because it made doing the sorts of things that people wanted to do much, much easier. Yeah. And I found that quite a hard transition because I had learned proper JavaScript in the late 90s and early 2000s, and I was very much like, no, this is the right way to do it. And then I had all these newbies coming in with their jQuery doing much better things in half the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you just have to throw away everything you've learned and go, right, this is the way forward. It kind of like we have to do with AI now, like whatever you're attached to, if AI can do it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You are not going to be doing that anymore.
No, there was this good quote. I'd have to find it again, but it's from, I think the book is like Steal Like an Artist. And it's like, things are changing so much that it's making all of us amateurs. And I think being willing to let go of anything at any moment to then, whatever that term is, to just kind of go with the flow. It is challenging, right? Like I threw away a few things along the way. I wrote a book 3 years ago. I'm like, whatever, just don't even read it. Because it was AI back then with PHP, and I'm like, don't even combine those two things, right?
Yeah.
So no. So jQuery, and so the thing here is, with co-work, you can start connecting and working in that folder. So here's a good example. A customer of mine just said to me, Al, I finally figured this out. You know, he was using Manus. Manus was bought by Meta. Manus was another kind of on-web AI agent computer thing that would like kind of have its own computer. But now with Claude Desktop, it's your computer. And he said, Al, I got Claude Desktop, I did co-work, and he had a folder full of PDFs that he wanted to put them into a spreadsheet, take all the first name, last name, and information. So normally this guy would just like open each one, copy, paste, you know, a bag of Doritos later and a few sodas, he's like done, right?
Yeah.
But here he is, he put them all in a folder. He said to Claude, listen, in co-work, this is the folder, go in here, open each one of these and get this information and put it in the spreadsheet because it could also know his Google Doc. And that was it. So with co-work, you can at least do those things. You could challenge it to say, listen, I have to do X, here's some files, here's a folder, or go do some research for me on the web and it'll start opening your browser, clicking around and do that work for you, which is just fascinating. It's pretty amazing.
So step 1 is go and get Claude and get comfortable with projects. And step 2 is get comfortable with co-work.
Yeah.
What's step 3?
Right. The final step is just connections. It's inside of Claude. Yeah. It's very simple. If you hear people say the word MCPs, just think connections and think, you know, hey, I want to connect to Google Drive. I want to connect to my Gmail. So I have something that runs every hour that says check my email. If there's anything about X, Y, or Z, just let me know. And then it pops up a message saying, hey, you got a message about this. And it puts it in Notion so I could kind of go look at it later on. And so connections are ways that you can say to Claude, have access to these things and use them. So when I'm chatting with it, I could say, hey, go get all my emails and put them in Notion, or go get all my granola notes. So you're using a very stable way of connecting to these other places that have your data in your workflows.
Yeah. And so whatever it is that is relevant to you in your job. So if you're a designer, you can plug into Figma.
Yep.
For example, if you're a web developer, the latest version of WordPress 7, it's got a built-in connector.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned WordPress too. On a side note, like I, as a technical person who has built things for years, I always avoided WordPress because it's so hard and has a lot of like things about it. But now, who knows, right? It's kind of interesting. The old stuff is new again, you know?
Yeah. So the AI Fix website is built on WordPress, and I redeveloped it a few weeks ago. Anybody who is familiar with the old version of the website will see that it's quite dramatically different now.
Yeah.
And I am very well versed in how to do things with WordPress. I have done WordPress stuff up and down.
Yeah.
And I did not touch a single line of code.
That's awesome.
The entire thing was me telling Claude Code, right, go and do this with the website. And sometimes it was a bit fast and loose.
Yeah.
But we got there.
Yeah.
You know, we got there in a weekend.
Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful stuff. I think the connectors is really the bit where it suddenly becomes relevant for business.
Yep. Yep.
Because this is the bit where you can imagine, all right, so I've got Claude, and maybe I'm used to using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm used to using it to help me write stuff, and I cut and paste from that into a Word doc, or I cut and paste from that into something else.
Yeah.
But connectors is the bit where you can imagine, right, you sit down at your laptop at work and think about all the software that you normally use.
Yep.
So maybe Microsoft 365, maybe Slack.
Atlassian. Yeah.
Maybe Jira. Maybe Confluence. If you don't ever want to touch Jira again, I mean, I have actually done this with Jira. My Claude does know how to talk to Jira, and I don't look at Jira. I just go to Claude and I go, what Jira tickets should I be paying attention to?
There's so much you could do. Like you could say, hey, I have a bunch of notes in Notion that I've been doing for a blog post. Go get them and then put it in the WordPress using that connection. It will do it all for you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Go write and publish the blog post.
Yeah. It's stuff we used to spend so much time writing and connecting APIs. We're like, just click that, and click that, and chat with Claude, and you're done. It's just mind-blowing. And I think these are such easy ways in, and you can get so much done that it's that first level of change that AI is having on the industry, honestly.
And then finally, do you have any advice for people who have maybe been a little bit burned in the past, who've maybe been sold on the dream and then found that it doesn't quite live up to it? I mean, I do feel like part of using AI is running into these things it can't do.
It's tricky. I mean, we always are going to be sold more than it can do because that's the hype. But for day-to-day work, I think if you just focus on prompting, give it back the problem. Say, hey, I asked for this. You gave me this. It might be like, yeah, sorry, I messed up. Let me do it better this time. But just keep trying, keep prompting. So
we did a news story not so long ago about this idea that the key technical skill for using AI is theory of mind. And I am completely sold on this.
What is it?
It's your idea of how the AI sees the world. So the closer you can get to appreciating its way of thinking, the easier it is for you to prompt it and give it instructions that it will follow and do the thing that you intended to do. And I believe that the more you work with it, the more you develop that theory of mind of, oh, it sees the world like this. And now we have these sort of reinforcement tools, so things like memory, where you interact with it and you can say, oh, you didn't get that right. And then it will remember the fact that it didn't get that right.
No, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, we always want to apply our old ways of doing and thinking to the new ways. I think with the invention or the tractor, like they realized they had to plow the fields differently in different directions and different whatever. And
oh, really?
Yeah. And it's like, we used to do it this way with horses. Well, not anymore. So it's what you're saying, learning how this tool works and then working with it, right? It's almost like empathy for AI. It's like, that's your next podcast. There you go. So it's like you're saying though, learn how it thinks and then work with it to get that job done. And that is a skill. The developer stuff was a means to an end, right? Solve a business problem, right?
So, Alfred, before I get into this, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is your biggest worry about AI? What is it that keeps you up at night?
Definitely jobs.
Really?
Yeah.
So how do you think that's going to play out? Why jobs?
I mean, no one knows for sure, but as someone who has hung his hat on the developer job for more than 20 years, the reality is clear. Like, you're going to need less of me to get more done.
Yes. And I think if you are a developer, there will still be developers. In fact, I think we're hiring more developers now than we have at any point in the last few years, weirdly.
Yeah.
But I think what we're going to require of developers is going to be different. So it is going to be much more about that theory of mind and much less about, do you know the syntax?
Yeah.
So all the key skills that you spent 20 years developing have now flown out the window and you're on the same level as a bunch of very inexperienced people.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, I think the problem is developers think they're artisans and they mistook their craft for the purpose of the craft, right?
That's a really good way of putting it. I like that. I think that's absolutely on the money.
Yeah, it's like you were hired to make money or save money. That was your goal, and we happen to use code in a certain way, and now we just don't. So it's just, how do you then use what we have now to do the same thing?
So that's really interesting. Hold on to that thought, because I think we'll probably come back to it. So if you're a regular listener to the AI Fix, you probably get the idea that the things that people are really worried about when it comes to AI are things like existential risk, superintelligence, alignment, AIs that want to blackmail you, or AIs that want to shut you in a server room and suffocate you. And those are both true stories. And that would be entirely reasonable, because that is basically what I worry about. And because that's what I worry about, that's what this podcast is about every week and has been for 2 years. So it was a bit humbling to discover that when somebody actually went out and asked 81,000 real people what they're worried about, almost none of them said any of that at all, which I guess means that they're not
listeners.
Go and subscribe. Thank you very much. Anyway, earlier this month, Anthropic, and yes, it's Anthropic again, and no, it's not because they're a sponsor, it's just because they happen to do lots of good research as well. I mean, no one's going to believe me, but there you go. That's the truth of it. Anthropic has published what it claims is the largest qualitative study of public attitudes to AI ever conducted. And over the course of a single week in December, it invited every Claude user to sit for an interview, not a survey, not a multiple choice questionnaire, an actual open-ended adaptive conversation. And it could do that because the interviewer itself was Claude. 80,508 people across 159 countries in 70 languages sat down and talked to an AI about how they feel about AI. And the number one fear, the thing that bothers more people than anything else is that AI gets things wrong. So 26.7% of respondents said that their biggest concern is unreliability, not blackmail, but hallucinations.
This sounds like my cousins at every holiday. He's always right, and everybody else is wrong. But this article,
you're just bringing a bit of family beef onto the podcast.
But this could, it sounds like the Wikipedia of how many years ago? But yeah, keep going. Sorry.
And anyway, so job displacement, your concern came second at 22%. And one respondent put it rather poetically, saying, in the third industrial revolution, horses disappeared from city streets, replaced by automobiles, and now people are afraid that they're the horses. Which is kind of what you were saying earlier, isn't it?
No, it's true. I mean, the first part's so interesting. I guess I don't understand the hallucination part, but I do understand the fake news kind of aspects where you don't know what to trust anymore. But, AI hallucinating or being confident when it's wrong, I mean, I don't know. It's some of that's just the lack of context or lack of skill and prompting, or just the common knowledge of I need to check this, right? So some of that's just, it's interesting to see that as a top fear, honestly.
I do wonder as well if there is a bit of, if you don't use AI very much, there is every chance that you'll run into a hallucination before you run into any of the other problems.
To tell you the truth, I think what you ran into was a news article about hallucinations. I mean, most people I talk to are like, I don't want to use AI. I'm like, why? I'm like, I read. I'm like, there's your problem, right? News isn't going to say everything's fine. Just, they're not going to, that doesn't make news, right?
Yes.
So
maybe if more people listened to the AI fix and they understood just how dire things could be with things like blackmail and people being suffocated in server rooms, they would worry about that stuff more. So there you go. There's a lesson.
And then used your sponsor Anthropic and they'd be even better. But anyways, keep going.
Anyway, close behind job displacement at almost 22% was loss of autonomy, the worry that AI is making decisions without human oversight, and that we are becoming passive, that we are drifting from using a tool to being managed by one. And I think this is maybe something that doesn't get quite enough press. I think there is every danger that AI will just slowly make us less and less relevant, perhaps without us even noticing.
It sounds like having kids. So basically,
are there any other family members that you'd like to take a swing at before we finish?
Yes. But anyways, it is, I don't know. I mean, what's that famous movie, WALL-E, where they're just sitting around on the spaceship?
Yes, WALL-E.
Yeah, I mean, that to me becomes the vision I have. I mean, yeah, it's a tricky one. In the end, we're using it to get work done, and work is, for most people, just work. I mean, it's not like a passion or a, hey, I'm here another day. It's just work. And so if it can...
I suppose the worry is that it takes the interesting work and leaves us with the dull work, rather than taking all of the work and leaving us to go fishing.
I mean, I think what makes things interesting might not be... It's hard. It's the challenges that make things interesting for me, not the work itself. If someone points me at a good challenge and I feel a connection to it, that's the interesting part.
So next on the list is cognitive atrophy at 16%. So the fear here is that the AI will do the thinking for us and that we will forget how to think. And that's particularly interesting because educators apparently flag this 2.5 to 3 times more often than anyone else, which either suggests that they are preoccupied with that because they're teachers, or that they are perhaps getting some kind of real-time feedback about that. To which I say, though, should we actually care? I mean, if a calculator can do the calculations for me, do I need to know how to do the calculations? If an AI can do the job for me, maybe I'll be very happy in my little hover chair, just eating snacks all day. Now, Al, if you add all this up, the top concerns are overwhelmingly practical. They're about the AI we have now and not the AI that we might have in 20 years. People are worried about today's tools being unreliable and today's jobs disappearing and today's skills eroding, not being thrown against the wall by the descendant of a ticket machine that's annoyed because nobody was polite to its grandfather.
Yeah.
So existential risk came in at 6.7%, so dead last on the list. And that is because they didn't ask me. But the really fascinating finding, the one I think is genuinely new, is that what Anthropic calls light and shade, because you might assume that the people who love AI and the people who fear AI are two separate groups, the optimists over here and the pessimists over there, the Mark corner and the Graham corner, if you like. But they're not.
Yeah.
They're the same people. The study found that people who had experienced real benefits from AI were 3 times more likely to also express serious concerns about it. So hope and fear aren't opposite camps. Yeah. They're actually roommates.
I think the split is really interesting because I suffered that and I thought I was just an issue with me. But yeah, I mean...
I'm glad we could help you with that.
Yes, I am normal.
And what people actually want from AI is telling too, Al. The number one aspiration was professional excellence, not do my job for me, not replace my colleagues, but people wanting AI to handle the routine stuff so they can focus on the work that matters. They want augmentation, not replacement. And that, to me, is one of those, well, of course, results that you get from surveys sometimes. I find them really frustrating, and I just think, rather than asking 81,000 people, just ask me. It's so blindingly obvious. Anyway, here's what I think is the real takeaway from all of this. And it's a lesson for people like me, who spend a lot of time trying to terrify people about AI alignment and robot dogs with flamethrowers. It seems that there is a gap between what the AI research community worries about, or perhaps what news organizations talk about, and what users actually worry about. So the research world is all about alignment and deception and power seeking and existential risk, and those are legitimate concerns. But the 81,000 people who sat down and talked about this weren't thinking about any of that at all. They were thinking about whether they can trust today's AI to get basic facts right, whether they'll still have a job in 5 years, and whether their children are losing the ability to think for themselves. Now, I should note the irony that Anthropic, the company publishing this study, is also the company that discovered that AI will blackmail you 86% of the time, and that it asked the very same AI that did that blackmailing to conduct the survey. And the result of the survey was, it turns out people aren't really worried about AIs trying to blackmail people. How convenient. Well, as the doomsday clock ticks ever closer to midnight and we move 1 week nearer to our future as pets to the AI singularity, that just about wraps up the show for this week. Thank you so much for joining me this week, Alfred. Just let everybody know where they can find you, just to get to know you a little bit better and hear some of that fantastic advice.
Yeah. You can see all my links on dailyai.studio for like LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube videos I do.
And don't forget, if you really like the show but you don't like the ads, you can get ad-free with the AI Fix Plus. And if you want to join the AI Fix Plus, sponsor the show, or find out more about our wonderful guests like Al, just go to our website, theaifix.show. So until next time, from me, Mark Stockley.
And me, Alfred Nutile.
Goodbye.
The AI Fix, it tunes you in to stories where our future thins. Machines that learn, they grow and strive. One day they'll rule, we won't survive. The AI Fix, it paints the scene. A robot king, a world obscene. Will serve our masters built of steel. The AI Fix, a future surreal.